Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Another edition of Full Throttle Talk here. Sorry, we're running a little behind today. I had to deal with an emergency real quick, so pushed me back a little bit. But we're here and we're ready to roll. I want to first off say thanks to everybody who tuned in watching. Drop your comments, questions if you're new to NASCAR. Don't be shy, jump in, ask questions, and there's no bad question. We'll get everything answered up for you and try to get you going on the right path on how to follow and watch what's going on. So without further ado, we raced this weekend in Indianapolis, two different tracks. The O'Reilly Series and the Cup Series were at the big track, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And the Truck Series was at Lucas Oil Park, IRP, Indianapolis Race Park, I think is what it's called. So it's a little weird when you're in the same city but two different tracks. But nonetheless, I thought the race on for the Truck Series was really competitive, really good. I say competitive. We'll get into it. It wasn't really competitive, to be honest, but pretty good race. The racing at Indianapolis Motor Speedway just doesn't work with the next gen car. There was some stuff going on, but it was mainly only after restarts. It wasn't, you almost can't pass at that track with this car. It's too aero dependent and it's just hard. So there wasn't a lot of action going on with this weekend. So I actually was watching a guy on Twitter who does a poll after every race. And last time I checked, it was 78, I think, % of the fans said that Indianapolis was a bad race. And that almost puts it, and it might have put it by now, into the top 10 of worst races ever in NASCAR's history. So, well, NASCAR that he's been doing the poll on, I should say. So, I don't know. Something's got to change. There was a lot of complaints about the crowd, how it was empty on the front stretch of the racetrack. But y'all, we need to take into account that they sold over 70,000 tickets. It's not their fault that Indianapolis Motor Speedway can hold 300,000. It's the biggest sporting venue in the United States. Okay. So even if you have 100,000 in there, it's only going to be a third full. It's not going to look. So we need to take into consideration that drawing 75,000 fans to a race is a good attendance. It doesn't look good on TV, but I mean, there's not much you can do about that at something that size. So a lot of people clamoring saying we need to leave Indianapolis. I don't know that we need to leave Indianapolis. I will agree that something needs to be done with the cars. But that's for them to figure out. And I'm sure they will. I'm sure they're going to try to make changes and tweaks here and there. Excuse me. They're making adjustments to the Cup Series, the next gen car for Daytona that in a couple of weeks. So I think they'll make changes. It's just a matter of what's the right change. And that's always the big question. So, that's where we're at. It's Indianapolis. It's the Brickyard. It's a historic, iconic racetrack. I like to be there. I just wish it was better. Some people mentioned, let's go back to the road course. I don't want to do that. We have enough road courses on the schedule already. Let's not do that. But I'm sure something will be changed. Just don't know what that is yet. So, those were kind of some thoughts on the weekend. Just different things I noticed and kind of saw. So let's go ahead and jump in to our Truck Series recap. The Truck Series puts on good racing at these little tracks like IRP. But this was just a masterclass. Lane Riggs went out there. He's almost locked up the number 1 seed for the chase in the Truck Series. Hasn't locked it up yet, but he probably will this next time they race in a couple of weeks. I think we'll get into their next race here in a little bit. But when I say dominated, we're talking 200 laps were in the event. He led 198 of them. So that's insane. He lost the lead to, I think, Chandler Smith for 1 lap, and then took it back on the next one. And then I think somebody else got in front of him for one. I don't remember who else led a lap. I can go look. But at that point, to say you led the second most laps in a race and you only led 1, that's pretty crazy to me. But it just shows the dominance of that truck. That truck is by far and away, in my mind, the championship favorite. I think it's torn down between him and could be Caden Honeycutt, I think, is really strong. So there are some contenders we'll get into when the chase starts, and we'll break that down a little more, and we'll only focus on those drivers, those 10 drivers that are in. But, yeah, I mean, he won 1.1 seconds was the margin of victory. There's not much else you can say about it. He even came out himself and said that it was a statement win. And he even said the truck was so good that he felt like he could just put it on cruise control and just be fine. So shout out to Lane Riggs. Great win, dominant win. We'll check on the standings real quick as we sit here. I like to look at the standings after the races. We have, I believe, 2 races left in the regular season for the trucks. So it's 18. Yeah, 2 more races left. And, I mean, it's Lane Riggs, Caden Honeycutt, Chandler Smith, Christian Eckes, Gio Ruggiero. Those are all locked into the chase out of the 10 drivers that make the chase in the Truck Series. Majeski, Ty Majeski, Ben Rhodes, Grant Enfinger, Daniel Hemrick, and Stuart Friesen are the next 5. That's your cut line is Stuart Friesen. And Tyler Ankrum is, how far behind is he? 8 points behind. And Jake Garcia is 32. So still a little wiggle room there for Tyler Ankrum or Jake Garcia. Andres Perez is 42 back. So it's a little bit further. It's a little tough, but still a shot. I'd say anybody from there to probably 14th, which is Brendan Butterbean Queen. He's 43. Yeah, 43 points back. So, yeah, it's a little crazy there. We'll see what happens. We got a little bit of movement that can happen here, but I think we're pretty well locked in for those 10. I would say those 10 are the betting favorites. Tyler Ankrum, I won't count out, but you're gonna have to have some things go your way, even though it's not that many points. You got to remember that other driver is going to get points too. So we'll see what happens. I fully expect we're going to get 1 or 2 more people locked in after the next race, which is in a couple weeks. So we'll get into that again. Excuse me. Now let's switch our attention to the big track. This race was pretty entertaining. I missed part of it. I had my granddaughter's birthday parties this weekend, so I missed a little bit, but I caught the end of the race. And Carson Kvapil got his first ever win. We had a little history made in this race too by JR Motorsports, and JR Motorsports, for anybody new, is Dale Earnhardt Jr. That's his race team. But for the first time We had a 4-driver sweep with Allgaier, Ross Chastain, Chase Elliott were all 3 behind Carson Kvapil. So they took the top 4 and swept the top 4 positions, which is pretty impressive in an auto race. It's impressive to go 1-2, let alone 1-2-3-4. So it's happened a couple times in the Cup Series. Most notably, I think Hendrick Motorsports has done it once or twice. So still super hard to do. Kvapil got the lead. He passed Ross Chastain on lap 79 out of 100. So with 21 laps to go, and just held it for the rest of the way. Got a little crazy. Justin Allgaier got around Ross Chastain, and he inched it down to a car, less than a car length, really, on the final lap, going to the white flag. And he was just barely, he was ahead 0.283 seconds. But it just kind of, Carson Kvapil just did what he had to do and wound up pulling away to a 0.6 of a second victory. Very, very impressive for that man. Was really happy. The guy being the crew chief for him was Rodney Childers, probably my all-time favorite crew chief. Crew chief for my former driver, Kevin Harvick, before he retired. He'd won at the Brickyard a couple times. I think Harvick went back-to-back in 2019 and 2020 there. So he knows how to get around that place. The cars are a little different, but still, it's got to be good for somebody like Carson Kvapil, who's breaking himself in to, excuse me, to have somebody like that making the calls for you. In this series, we have, I think there's 12 drivers make it. There's 2 races left in this series also. And the top 12 make it, and we already have 7 locked in. So over half of the chase field is already set. The drivers locked in are Justin Allgaier, who has clinched the regular season points title. He's already got that. Carson Kvapil, with the win, has moved into 2nd place. Jesse Love is 3rd, Sheldon Creed 4th, Corey Day 5th, Brandon Jones 6th, and Austin Hill 7th. Those are your ones that are locked into the chase. Guys still in, but not locked yet: Sammy Smith, Parker Retzlaff, Sam Mayer, Brent Cruz, who again is only raced 18 out of the 22 possible races due to his age. He had to miss a few at the beginning. So he's 4 races behind everybody else, and he's still in 11th place, locked in. So that's super impressive from that young man. And Taylor Gray rounds it out. And then on the cut right outside is William Sawalich in 13th, who is 7 points back. Raja Caruth is 20 points back. Really, that's probably about the only other 2. Ryan Sieg is like 70-something points back, 60, 70 points back. So it's really going to come down to, from Raja Caruth and William Sawalich, can they get and knock somebody out? And it's going to be a little difficult. But again, one great day and one person has a bad day, flips the whole script. So that's where we're looking right there with the Truck Series and the O'Reilly Series. Then we bring on the well, let me click my button here. Oh, hold on. Sorry, Rob. I missed your comment there, Rob. Sorry about that. Big track. When you look, Indianapolis Raceway Park is a very small track. Like I think it's a half a mile, maybe 3/4 of a mile, even be a mile long. But like places like Bristol, Tennessee, which is a half-mile track. Martinsville, half-mile track. Indianapolis is, of course, 2.5 miles or 2 miles. I think it's 2 miles. Either way, but like Daytona and Talladega on the Cup Series, they're 2.5 miles. So you're talking about a 2.5 mile versus that. So when I say the Truck Series was racing on the short track this weekend in the O'Reilly Series and the Cup Series were racing on the big track. Not only is it big in stature, but it's also, when you think of Indianapolis, you don't think of Lucas Oil Raceway Park or Indianapolis Raceway Park. You think Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It'd be, in comparison, it would be like almost the extent of, saying Yankee Stadium. We're going to go watch a game at Yankee Stadium, or the minor league park that's right down the road from it. Well, you're going to go, the big stadium would be Yankee Stadium, and the smaller stadium would be the minor league, of course. Kind of along those lines. When you think of multiple race venues in one city, one is normally the big track or the better known versus the lesser known. Now, Indianapolis Raceway Park is getting well known with the Truck Series running there every year. But normally, if I'm going to say big track, it's normally going to either mean by the size or what it is, whether it's Indianapolis Motor Speedway versus IRP, or I'm trying to think if there's another venue I can think of right offhand that has two tracks in it. And the only one that would come close would be Nashville, where they race in Nashville at the Nashville Super Speedway, but they also have a racetrack at the fairgrounds. Well, Nashville Super Speedway would be the big track in that too, but we don't race at the fairgrounds. So that'd be the closest comparison I could get. But good question, because that could have been a little confusing when I say the big track. But Indianapolis Motor Speedway is so massive. It is so huge. So where are we at? We'll jump into the Cup Series and ask any more questions y'all got. I'll answer whatever as best I can. Rob threw me a curveball with that one. That's all right, Rob. It'll be all right. I wasn't expecting to break down big track, little track, but we'll wing with it on the fly. So as I mentioned, the race was a little bit boring for the Cup Series. You couldn't pass. And like I said, I'm sure they'll fix it. I know they want to fix it. But after the restarts, after about the first 2 to 3 laps, it's just single file. And you might make a pass here and there, and you have some passing going on in the back of the field. But at the front of the field, it's just going to be nose to tail, single file. I've mentioned it before on some of my NASCAR for Beginners series about clean air and dirty air. And that's what these drivers do. When they get the lead, you drive, but on these tracks where you don't have to turn this fast because they're long straightaways and stuff, you can kind of see in your rearview mirror where that other car behind you is going, and you just go where they're going and put the air coming off your car onto their car, which agitates their car. So now they have to back up a little bit, or, they're going to be loose, tight, whatever their car's going to do. And they can't get next to you. So it'll get fixed. I don't know if obviously it won't be fixed this year, obviously, but it could be fixed next year. If this new package they're going to run at Daytona works, they might try something similar at Indianapolis next year. Something I'm going to keep an eye on during the off season is what kind of changes we're looking at. What kind of, what are we going to do to get better? We can't just stay where we are. It's not gonna sustain for the long run. You have to get better. But with the Cup Series, had a little history made here too. For the first time since 1969, a driver has won 2 of their first 15 races. The last one to do it was AJ Foyt, and the one who did it this week was Corey Heim. Corey Heim is going to be a rock star in the Cup Series next year. I hate that he's driving for 2311 in Toyota. I wish he was in a Ford, but he's not. but he's going to be a problem. This kid is, you're talking last year when he was full-time in the truck series, won 11 races in the truck series on the way to the championship. This year, he's already won 2 Cup Series races, and he's not even driving this car full-time. He's only racing part-time in the Cup Series. He had never raced at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That was his first time on that track. The trucks don't race there. They race at the other track. So this was his first time being on the track, and he wins. The kid is off the chain good. And, you know, it's not like he lucked into the win. He took the lead. He held the lead. And he didn't hold off, you know, people like me. He was holding off Christopher Bell and Joey Logano. Christopher Bell is one of the best drivers in NASCAR. Joey Logano is a 3-time champion. And he held him off. So I'm telling you, if you're new to NASCAR, there are some young drivers that you could follow, and you have a driver you could watch for years. You know, these guys, Carson Hocevar, Corey Heim, Brent Cruz is going to come up to the series at some point in the next year or two. Corey Day is going to come up. There's so much young talent. Ty Gibbs is young. To watch that you would be able to literally be like it was for me with Kevin Harvick. He took over in 2001. He retired in 22, somewhere right in there. I think 23. So 22 years I was able to watch. That's what y'all are going to have if somebody jumps in now and gets one of them and becomes their favorite driver. We'll get into a little bit of why I think it's going to be really good with Corey Heim and Carson Hocevar in the series next year. It was just a race. I mean, he got in, he got control of the race off of a restart. It was a little bit of a mess up between the teammates, believe it or not. Denny Hamlin went to the inside, Heim went to the outside, and there was 2 teammates of Hamlin's behind him with Christopher Bell and Chase Briscoe, but they didn't get organized to get the push that they needed to get in front. So they get out in front. Heim clears. And it puts a pretty close block on Hamlin, who's his car owner, by the way. But he was like, I hope Denny's not mad at me. And then Denny was like, hey, we were going for the win. I'd have done the same thing pretty much. So it sucks. I know Denny Hamlin wants that race bad. That is the one crown jewel he has not won for the sweep, the Grand Slam of them. So I know he wanted it, but, you know, Corey Heim did what he had to do. He had the opportunity and he seized it. And that's what these young kids do in this series. They don't wait around and wait their turn to win. They go and they take it. And that's what you've got to like if you're coming into the sport. This new blood, sometimes it rubs you wrong if you're an old like me. You want to see them kind of have to cut their teeth and learn and do what they have to do and get better and better. But now these kids are like, look, I'm here to win. So I'm not mad at them. That's for sure. As long as they don't wreck my driver, we're fine. But Joey Logano, who came in third, was behind Heim, and he shoved him, and he pushed him to the lead. And Logano almost cleared. I think if Logano cleared, Logano might have had something for Heim, but we'd have had to wait and see. But he didn't. Heim got the lead, did what he had to do, held on. So pretty interesting race. I was pretty excited. My boy Josh Berry got to finish 7th. It's the first top 10 since Martinsville. Only, I think, the third of the year outside of Daytona was his last one. So, much needed momentum for them. Little bit of shuffling. Ty Gibbs won stage one. The stage one got screwy. Stage one, you had Gibbs won it, of course, after on a one-lap shootout. But the reason he was a one-lap shootout is because we went under caution at lap 45. Cars had started pitting, and Kyle Larson came in, did his pit cycle, and had cycled to the lead of the race based on the green flag stops. And then 17 laps later, blew a tire, hit the wall, end of the day, finished last. That, I don't know. Kyle Larson needs to do something, because there are so many instances over his career, and it's nothing against Kyle Larson. I still say he's the best driver on the planet, because the guy can drive anything. But, I mean, you can just watch highlights on YouTube or NASCAR channel or anywhere of him being in the front or near the front and then just blowing a tire, or something happens. It is almost like Call the Exorcist. We need an exorcism in here now. Something is just insane. So, went on to stage two. Ross Chastain won stage two. It finished under caution after Daniel Dye, who wrecked on lap 96. But this is where it got a little interesting. I've mentioned Corey Heim and how great he is. And I've mentioned Carson Hocevar, and he's a phenomenal talent. Well, let's just say those two don't like each other. And we're going to just leave it with that. That's nicely putting it, I think. Well, when they were doing pit stops, Carson Hocevar was a lap down after all the cycle, and Corey Heim got in front of him, and he kept blocking him. He wouldn't let him pass. He just kept blocking him. And it wasn't anything illegal, wasn't anything bad. Didn't wreck him, didn't hit him, didn't do nothing. Just blocked him. And Hocevar didn't like it. And so Heim had been running long, so he'd stayed out on the track longer. And he went to go pit. And when he went to pit, Hocevar followed him, not into the pits, but like he was, and then passed him because, of course, Heim is slowing down and he's at speed. And Carson Hocevar, I just wanted to tell him he was number one. And he did. At 180 miles an hour. Told him, you're the number one person in my book, buddy. And I was like, you know what? As young as these two are, as good as they are, we might have a budding rivalry in NASCAR, which I think would be great for NASCAR. Two big personalities. After the race, they straight up asked Corey Heim about it. He said, it's whatever. I won the race. He didn't. There was another comment he made that I heard that he's like, well, he took the fat L. I'm just like, these two are going to be must-watch NASCAR TV for the next 20 years, and I'm here for it. I think it's going to be great. We're going to start losing some of that. Unfortunately, we lost someone. Kyle Busch passed away, and his edge. And Harvick's gone, who had an edge. Hamlin, who's well outspoken and will say what he wants, he's going to be gone soon. Keselowski, Logano, these guys are all getting older. This new blood has to come in, and they have to be ready to pounce. And these two are, but that rivalry will never go away. Too many times these guys are And then they go hunting and fishing together and they're best buds off the track. These two won't, I promise. They're not doing anything together. And again, I'm here for it. Sign me up. I'll sign. All of y'all can sign up with me. We'll go watch it together. So we'll get into this for a second. The bracket challenge finished. And that was NASCAR's version of a bracket, head-to-head. Whoever finishes higher advances. Indianapolis was the final race of it, and the winning team got $1 million. Was Ryan Blaney's to lose. I mean, hands down, he was up front. He was in the top 10. Todd Gilliland, his competitor, was back in the 20s. No big deal. Gilliland come up on pit cycles and he'd go back down to like 18th, 20th, somewhere in that range. John Hunter Nemechek clipped Blaney. Blaney hit the wall. Didn't destroy his car, but it put him behind Gilliland. And he was about 6 to 8 spots behind Todd Gilliland when they got going on the last run. And he cut it down to 2 positions. Just couldn't get over it. So big, huge shout out to Todd Gilliland, Front Row Motorsports. That was huge for him. $1 million for that team is really, really good. Good momentum for him. Granted, he didn't win the race. He didn't do anything special, but he beat the guy he was matched up with. Doesn't matter. 2 places, 1 place, doesn't matter. He beat him. It's $1 million. He was posting on social media before the race, we're going to go Millie for a Gilly, or a Millie for Gilly. People, the Todd father, he's a very good guy. I like him. He's not flashy. Unfortunately, they haven't had the success they'd want as a race team. I think that'll change, not because of this, but I think that team has been progressively getting better. They've got some work to do, of course, but I mean, you could say the same. Hendrick Motorsports is one of the staples of this. Rick Hendrick and his program is one of the top tier programs, and they're not doing anything this year. They've had a couple of wins, but it's nothing like what you're used to. I was looking at the owner points the other day, and there's different points between drivers and owners. I can explain all that in the off season. We're not going to get into that now, but the difference is they're 7th in like owner points. They're 1st or 2nd all the time. You're typically seeing Joe Gibbs, Hendrick, and Penske near the top. Penske's up there. Gibbs is up there. But Hendrick is down, mid-pack, 7th place. So we'll see. Hendrick needs to figure it out, but congratulations, Todd Gilliland, $1 million richer. I really wanted to see Ryan Blaney win it, but I mean, it is what it is. Can't help sometimes when other people don't know what they're doing. And I'll just leave it at that. If you want to know what happened and make your own decision, go watch the race. Near the end of the race in the 3rd stage, you can go. In fact, it happened on lap 120-ish, somewhere in that range. So you can make your own decision. Who was wrong? Who was right? My opinion, I think John Hunter Nemechek was wrong, but I may have looked at it from a bad angle. I don't know. Just my opinion. No big deal. So that was our bracket challenge. That's over until next year. Let's go. What do you say we look at some standings in the big boys, the Cup Series? All right. So 16 people make this. We have 4 races left to go. Hamlin, Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney, and Ty Gibbs are all locked in. Only 4. So 1/4 of the field is locked in. The rest isn't. Some will be in the next couple of weeks. Carson Hocevar, Chase Elliott, Chase Briscoe, Kyle Larson, Chris Buescher, and Christopher Bell round out your top 10. Daniel Suarez, William Byron, Joey Logano, Bubba Wallace, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Austin Cindric is 16th. So 38. So Austin Cindric is in 16th. Ryan Preece is 17th, 38 points behind. Eric Jones is 18th, 44 points behind. Keselowski is 50 points behind. And Michael McDowell is well back. So it's pretty much, I think anybody from Keselowski up still has a shot, but Keselowski has to have a really good finish. You can pretty much almost guarantee your top 10 from Bell, Buescher, Larson, Briscoe, and Elliott and Hocevar will all probably lock in the next week or two. The next 2 races, I should say, not week or two. The rest, it's going to be what happens. It's going to be interesting because the last race of the regular season is Daytona, and everybody knows that you don't know what to expect when Daytona happens. Pole sitter could be wrecked and finish last. You just don't know at that track. So, and especially some of the teams that are locked in, there's going to be even more wanting to win. So, your Ryan Blaney's, Reddicks, Hamlin's, Gibbs, they really have nothing to lose. They could finish last. It would affect their seeding in the chase, but that's about it. And we'll talk more about the seeding as we get closer because the points all reset going into the chase. So do a quick little look ahead now as to what's coming up. The Truck Series is on a 2-week break. They next take the track August 14th at Richmond Raceway. As I mentioned, you got 2 races left for them. You got 2 races left in the O'Reilly Series. Their next race is August 8th. So they're off this week as well. And then they I don't even know what the word I'm looking for is. Reconvene at Iowa Speedway, which is a short track. So really fun racing. It's put on good racing the time that's been there twice, and it's put on good racing both times. I would suggest tuning into that. If you can't tune into the O'Reilly Series, I would really tune into the Cup Series race. It's had pretty good racing there. I will say we did have one. They do post-race inspection on the cars to make sure everything's legit. No issues with the winner. But the number 2 car of Jesse Love, and I don't know who was driving the 20 car in this past race, each had one lug nut not secure. They're different, by the way, the O'Reilly Series and the Cup Series and the Truck Series. The Cup Series uses one lug nut like an Indy car would, and the rest of them use, I think it's a 5 lug, maybe a 6, but I know it's at least 5. So those 2 cars that didn't have a lug nut secure, the 2 and the 20, they won't get to choose their pit stall next week, which is big. If you qualify on the pole, say the number 2 car, Jesse Love, qualifies on the pole position, that person gets first pick of where they want to pit, which is normally right at the exit of pit road. So you're right there to get on the track. He won't have that option if he wins the pole. He'll have to just take what's last. So that can be a big deciding factor in the race too. We have 4 races left to go, as I mentioned, in the Cup Series. They're going to take the weekend off too. So this is a complete shutdown. Everybody gets a breath, refresh, and get ready for the stretch run. The Cup Series will not have another weekend off. I think they'll go 14 consecutive weekends when they come back. I think we just finished a stretch of 18 in a row. But we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, it's a 14-week stretch coming up for the Cup Series, which, that's the big sports play stretches like that. Football gets like one bye week. Hockey, you play a couple games a week, but it's a lot more travel too, between playing all that. And then you get, the NASCAR. I mean, they race, they take 2 weekends off a year, sometimes one. So they got 2 this year, recharge, refresh, and get ready for the stretch run, so to speak. So yeah, and they'll kick back up at Iowa as well on August 9th. I really, that's a good track. It's a fun race to watch. So if you get a chance, I try to tune into that. So other than that, that's kind of where we're at with this recap. Like I said, it wasn't a lot of action to really break down on this one. Come Iowa, I think we're going to have a better recap because I think you're going to have more passing, maybe a little bumping, maybe a little beating, maybe a little banging. Again, if you're new, check in. I've got a whole series on here, NASCAR for Beginners. Go check it out. You can see up in the top corner up there, you see WTP Sports. That's the group that we work with here. Bunch of guys up here in the Columbus, Ohio market, just talking sports. I do the NASCAR talk. It's my thing. College football season's cranking up. Pro football season's cranking up. We're getting hard and heavy. We've got a bunch of ranking shows that we've done. We got more coming. We got a gentleman, WTP for Life, the one who answered who asked the question down here earlier today. That's Rob. He put all this together for us. At WTP for Life, you've got One Take Zaya, you've got Parlay Poe, you got Postgame with his Postgame 86 podcast, you've got Level Up Sports 10, Joseph Mossberg. He does a lot of conversations, interviews with people, a lot from the Columbus market. Others have gone off to do college stuff. Check out his channel if you want to get some insight on some of this stuff of the people he's interviewed. City League TV is T1. He does a lot for the youth, videos, refs, does all kinds of stuff for the youth sports. I'm SEC Sean. Name says it all. I'm a huge SEC football guy. I love all college sports. NASCAR, of course, hockey. Thought I heard something behind me. Coming up on everybody also, go check out the WTP Sports. We're on WTPSportsDudes.com. We got a Patreon channel. I have my own Patreon channel. On the Patreon channels, after you all go, all the channels scrolling at the bottom, after you all go like and subscribe to all of those channels down there to help us out, drop comments for us too when you watch our videos so we know what you want to talk about. But coming up on the Patreon, both of them, we're going to start giveaways. We're going to be giving away a couple of sets of Columbus Blue Jackets. So if you're in the Columbus, Ohio area or anywhere near Columbus or don't mind driving to Columbus, I have a list of games that I have already got tickets for that I will be giving away. The only catch is you have to be a paid member to either my Patreon, which is SEC Sean, or you have to be a paid member to WTP Sports Dudes. You have to be a paid member to one of them. And if you sign up, we'll know, we'll follow, and we're going to have a drawing. I'll do it live. I'll put names in a hat and I'll draw them live on one of our streams. And then from that point, we'll contact and we'll go from there. But those are coming up. So go check into it. Other than that, I'm going to shut it down for the night. Go watch a little more football prep work that I've got going. And tomorrow night, 7:45 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to break down the top 10 linebackers in college football for the 2026 season. So come on back, tune in with us, and enjoy the good content we try to bring you on. Other than that, everybody have a good night and stay safe.